She spat in his face. Victoria Ashworth leaned across the table and spat directly into Marcus Thompson's eyes. Wine and saliva dripped down his cheek. The restaurant went dead silent. "That's how we train animals where I come from," she laughed, turning to her friends. "When they don't listen, you remind them what they are." Marcus didn't move. He stood there, frozen, while 200 wealthy strangers watched a black single father get humiliated for sport. But Victoria Ashworth made a fatal mistake. She didn't know the man she had just degraded spoke more languages than she could count, and the words he was about to say would burn her empire to the ground. The spit hit Marcus Thompson's left eye. He felt it before he understood it. Warm, wet. Then the smell, wine and contempt mixed together. Victoria Ashworth was already laughing. "Oh my God!" Her friend covered her mouth. "Victoria, you actually did it!" "I told her I would." Victoria picked up her napkin, dabbing her lips like she had just finished a fine meal. "When the help doesn't listen, you teach them. It's simple." Marcus didn't move. His hands stayed at his sides, his eyes fixed forward. He was counting inside his head. 1, 2, 3. The way the grief counselor taught him after Maria died. The way he learned to stop himself from doing something he would regret. 4, 5, 6. "Hello?" Victoria snapped her fingers in his face. "Are you deaf? I said the wine was wrong. The 2015, not the 2012. How hard is that?" "I apologize, ma'am." His voice came out flat, dead. "I'll bring the correct bottle." "Don't bother. You've ruined my evening." She waved her hand. "Get your manager. I want someone competent." Marcus nodded. He turned to walk away. "Wait." He stopped. "What's your name?" "Marcus, ma'am." "Marcus." She rolled the name around like it tasted rotten. "Well, Marcus, you have something on your face." Her friends erupted. Marcus walked away. Slow. Steady. He didn't wipe his face. He didn't give her the satisfaction. Behind him, Victoria's voice carried across the room. "Can you believe they hire people like that? This is supposed to be 5 stars. I'm calling the owner. This is disgusting." The service corridor was empty. Marcus pushed through the swinging doors. His legs gave out. He grabbed the steel counter, his chest heaving, his hands shaking so hard the metal rattled. He wiped his face with his sleeve. The spit, the wine, the humiliation. He looked at the ceiling. "God," the word came out broken. "Please, I can't do this anymore. Please." His phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out. The screen showed a photo of a little girl with braids and a gap-toothed smile. Lily, his daughter, 8 years old. The text read, "Daddy, when are you coming? I miss you." Marcus closed his eyes. The hospital, Mount Sinai, room 412. His baby girl lying in a bed too big for her, waiting for a surgery that would either fix her heart or stop it forever. $73,000. That's what they needed. That's why he was here, taking spit from strangers, swallowing his pride like poison. He typed back, "Soon, baby. Daddy's coming soon. I love you more than all the stars." 3 dots appeared. Then, "I love you more than all the stars and the moon." Marcus laughed. It came out like a sob. The door swung open. "Marcus." He shoved the phone in his pocket. Tanya, the bartender, stood in the doorway. 55 years old, kind eyes. The only person in this place who treated him like a human being. "I saw what she did." Tanya's voice was quiet. "That woman is evil." "She's a customer." She's a monster. Tanya handed him a clean towel. Here, there's a shirt in your locker. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just survive. Tanya glanced toward the dining room. Henderson's coming. He saw everything. He's not happy. When is he ever? Not when Victoria Ashworth is involved. Tanya lowered her voice. She's gotten 4 servers fired. 4. One girl, Melissa, cried for an hour after Victoria called her a worthless immigrant. Melissa was born in Texas. Marcus pressed the towel against his face. His eye was still burning. Why does Henderson let her come back? $50,000 a year. She brings clients, politicians, CEOs. Tanya grabbed his arm. Be careful. That woman wants to destroy someone tonight. Don't let it be you. The door banged open. Charles Henderson walked in. Thin, 60s, sweating through his suit. The kind of man who measured his worth by the happiness of rich people. Thompson. His voice was high, tight. What happened? She spat in my face, sir. I know, I saw. Henderson ran a hand through his thinning hair. Do you have any idea who that woman is? Victoria Ashworth. Victoria Ashworth. Her family owns half of Silicon Valley. She's hosting a dinner next month for the governor. He stepped closer. The governor, Thompson. Marcus said nothing. Well, what did you do to provoke her? I brought the wrong wine. That's it? That's it. Henderson stared at him, then shook his head. Clean yourself up. Stay away from her table. I'll handle it. Yes, sir. Henderson turned to leave. Stopped. And Thompson? Sir? If she asks for you, you go. You apologize. You do whatever she wants. His eyes were cold. Do you understand? Something twisted in Marcus's chest. I understand. Henderson left. Tanya was watching him with sad eyes. I'm sorry, honey. It's fine. It's not fine. You're worth more than this. Marcus looked at his hands. He thought about Lily, about the surgery, about the $73,000. What I'm worth, he said quietly, doesn't matter right now. What matters is what I can give my daughter. He walked to his locker, changed his shirt, washed his face. And Marcus Thompson, Ph.D. in Romance Languages from Columbia University, walked back out to serve the rich. 1 hour passed. Marcus worked the other tables. He smiled. He nodded. He poured wine and recited specials and pretended his hands weren't shaking. He avoided table 1, but he felt Victoria watching him. Every time he passed, she whispered to her friends. They laughed. She was hunting, waiting for the right moment. At 9:47, the moment came. You, Marcus. He turned. Victoria was beckoning with one finger. Come here. He walked to the table. Henderson was gone, hiding in his office probably. Yes, ma'am? I've decided to forgive you. She smiled like a shark. The spitting thing. Water under the bridge. Thank you, ma'am. On one condition. She leaned forward. I want you to take our order, personally. My friends think it would be educational. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Of course. What would you like? Victoria picked up the menu but didn't open it. Tell me, do you speak any languages? Or is English already too much for you? Her friends giggled. I speak a few, ma'am. A few? She raised an eyebrow. Let me guess. 2 years of high school Spanish? You can order a beer in Cancun. Very impressive. More laughter. Marcus said nothing. Well, Victoria set down the menu. This is a French restaurant. I assume you know the basics. Bonjour, merci, oui oui. She said the words in a mocking American accent. But I'm in the mood for something more authentic tonight. She looked at her friends. Watch this. Victoria sat up straight. and she began to speak. It wasn't normal French. It wasn't the French they taught in schools or spoke in Paris. It was something else, an archaic dialect from the pre-revolutionary aristocracy. Obscure grammar, dead idioms, words that hadn't been used in 200 years. She spoke fast. Her accent was thick with arrogance. She had practiced this, learned it specifically to humiliate people who couldn't understand. Marcus understood every word.
The translation. Listen carefully, you pathetic servant. I want the duck, but only if the chef isn't as incompetent as you appear to be. And bring me wine that doesn't taste like it was made by peasants. Can your tiny brain process that? Or should I use smaller words for the little monkey? She stopped, sat back, waited. Silence. Her friends were smirking. One had her phone out, recording. Victoria's smile widened. Well, do you understand? Or should I speak slower? Marcus stood very still. He thought about Lily in her hospital bed, about Maria in her coffin, about his father working 2 jobs so Marcus could go to college, about the professor at Columbia who told him, "You have a gift. Don't let anyone make you feel small." He thought about the 300 pages of his dissertation sitting in a box under his bed, about the PhD he'd earned, about the 5 languages he spoke fluently and the 3 dead ones he could read. He thought about dignity, and something inside him shifted. It was like a switch flipping, like a door opening, like a drowning man suddenly finding ground under his feet. Marcus looked at Victoria Ashworth. He looked at her designer dress and diamond earrings and cruel, beautiful face. He looked at the phone recording him. He looked at the entire restaurant watching. He took a breath and opened his mouth. He didn't speak English. He didn't speak ordinary French. He spoke the same archaic dialect she had used. But his was flawless. Perfect. The precision of a scholar who had spent years studying the evolution of the French language. His voice was calm, steady, devastating. The translation. Madame, if you wish to impress me with a subjunctive, I suggest you first learn to conjugate it. Your attempt was admirable, in the way a child's scribble is admirable. Let me show you how it's actually done. Victoria's smile vanished. Marcus continued. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The duck will be noted, though your description was pedestrian. As for the wine, the vintage you rejected was a 2015 Chateau Margaux. It requires patience and sophistication to appreciate. Perhaps you would prefer something simpler. A white Zinfandel. It pairs well with ignorance. The friend with the phone had stopped recording. Her mouth hung open. Victoria's hands gripped the table. Her face went white. Marcus wasn't finished. He switched to Italian, Renaissance Florentine, the language of Dante. I see you are speechless, madame. This is perhaps the first intelligent response you have managed tonight. Then Spanish, Golden Age Castilian. In my culture we say, the empty drum makes the loudest noise. You have proven this perfectly. Then Latin. But perhaps you prefer dead languages. They suit dead minds. Then Portuguese. A woman who spits on a man has already lost the argument. Then German. Your money cannot buy what you lack most, character. He stopped. The silence was absolute. Every person in the restaurant had frozen. Forks halfway to mouths, glasses suspended in air. 200 people holding their breath. Victoria Ashworth sat paralyzed. Her face had cycled through white, red, purple. Her mouth opened and closed. Nothing came out. She had understood maybe 10% of his words, but she understood the tone. She understood that she had just been intellectually eviscerated by the man she called a monkey. Marcus stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his face calm, his eyes steady. "Shall I repeat any of that, man?" he asked in English. "Or do you need smaller words?" The silence stretched. 10 seconds. 20. 30. Victoria's hands were shaking. Her friends had abandoned her, gathering their purses, preparing to flee. Then, from the back of the restaurant, a sound broke the silence. Clapping. Slow. Deliberate. Each clap echoing like a gunshot. Marcus turned. An elderly black man was rising from a corner table. 70 years old, maybe older. Gray suit. Simple. Worn but well made. He had been sitting alone all night, watching. He walked toward table 1. He didn't hurry. He moved with the slow, terrifying authority of a man who had never needed to raise his voice to be obeyed. The other diners parted for him without being asked. He stopped beside Marcus, looked at Victoria, then back at Marcus. "Young man." His voice was deep, gravelly, carried the weight of decades. "That was the finest use of the French subjunctive I have heard in 40 years. Victoria finally found her voice. It came out high, desperate.
"Who the hell are you? This is a private matter. Mind your own business, old man."
The elderly man turned to look at her. He didn't speak immediately. He just looked. And something in his gaze made Victoria shrink back like a child caught stealing. "You asked who I am," he said quietly. He reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a business card, held it up so Victoria could read it. Her face went gray. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "That's," she whispered, "that's impossible." The old man smiled. It was not a kind smile. "No, Miss Ashworth." His voice dropped to ice. "What's impossible is that a woman of your limited intellect has managed to fail upward for so long. But that ends tonight." He turned to Marcus. "Dr. Thompson," he said, "I believe you and I have much to discuss." Marcus's heart stopped. He knew that name on the card. Everyone knew that name. But before he could speak, before he could process what was happening, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He looked down. The message was from the hospital. It read, "Mr. Thompson, please call immediately. It's about Lily." Marcus's blood turned to ice. The phone screen glowed in his hand. The words burned into his eyes. "Mr. Thompson, please call immediately. It's about Lily." His legs went weak. The restaurant, the crowd, Victoria Ashworth, the mysterious old man, all of it disappeared. There was only the phone, only those words, only his daughter. "Dr. Thompson," the old man's voice seemed far away. "Are you all right?" Marcus couldn't speak. His thumb was already moving, dialing the number. The phone rang once, twice. "Mount Sinai Pediatric Cardiology, this is Nurse Williams." "This is Marcus Thompson, Lily Thompson's father. I got a message. What happened? Is she okay? Is my daughter okay?" His voice cracked on the last word. The nurse paused. That pause lasted a lifetime. "Mr. Thompson, Lily is stable, but there's been a complication. Dr. Okonkwo needs to speak with you. Can you come in tonight?" "A complication? What kind of complication? Tell me what's happening to my daughter." "Sir, I really think it's better if—" "Tell me." Another pause, then quieter. "Her condition has progressed faster than we anticipated. The surgery we scheduled for next month, it may need to happen sooner. Much sooner." Marcus closed his eyes. His hand was shaking so hard, he almost dropped the phone. "How much sooner?" "Within the week, Mr. Thompson. Dr. Okonkwo can explain more when you arrive. But we need to discuss options and the financial arrangements."
The financial arrangements. $73,000. Money he didn't have. Money he couldn't get. Money that was the difference between his daughter living and dying. "I'm coming," Marcus said. "I'm coming right now." He hung up. He looked around wildly. Henderson. He needed to find Henderson. He needed to leave. He needed to get to the hospital. He needed... Marcus. The old man was standing in front of him. His eyes were sharp, focused. He had heard everything. "Your daughter," the old man said. It wasn't a question. "I have to go. I'm sorry. I have to... How much do you need?" Marcus stopped. "What?" "The surgery. How much?" I can't. You don't even know me."
"I know enough." The old man reached into his jacket. He pulled out a checkbook. An actual checkbook. The kind Marcus hadn't seen in years. "How much?" $73,000. "But I can't accept..." "You can and you will." The old man was already writing. His hand moved fast, practiced. "What's the hospital?" "Mount Sinai." "But sir, I don't understand. Why would you..." "Because I've been looking for you for 6 years, Dr. Thompson." The old man tore the check from the book. He held it out. "And because no father should have to choose between his dignity and his daughter's life." Marcus looked at the check. His vision blurred. The number was not 73,000. It was $500,000. "That's..." Marcus couldn't finish the sentence. His throat had closed. "That's enough for the surgery, the recovery, and whatever else your daughter needs." The old man pressed the check into Marcus's hand. "Take it. Go to your daughter. We'll talk later." "I can't repay this. I could never repay this."
"I'm not asking you to repay it." The old man's voice softened. "I'm asking you to accept it. There's a difference." Marcus stared at the check. His hands were trembling. Tears were running down his face, and he didn't care who saw. "Who are you?" he whispered. The old man smiled. "We'll get to that. But right now, your daughter needs you. Go." Marcus looked at him, at this stranger who had just changed everything. This man who had appeared out of nowhere and handed him a miracle. "Thank you," Marcus said. The words weren't enough. They would never be enough. "Thank you." He turned to run. "Wait!" Marcus stopped. The old man walked toward Victoria Ashworth's table. Victoria was still sitting there, frozen, her face a mask of shock and rage. Her friends had fled. She was alone. "Ms. Ashworth," the old man said, "I believe you owe this man an apology." Victoria's eyes narrowed. The shock was wearing off. The cruelty was returning. "I don't owe him anything," she spat. "I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. He's a waiter, a servant. I don't apologize to servants." The old man nodded slowly. "I see. Then let me introduce myself properly." He pulled out the business card again. This time he handed it to her. "My name is Raymond Ellis. Dr. Raymond Ellis. Former United States Ambassador to France under 2 administrations. Founder of the Ellis Foundation. And, as of 3 months ago, the majority stakeholder in Ashworth Technology." Victoria's face went white, then green. That's a lie. My family controls Ashworth Technology. We've controlled it for 30 years. "You controlled it," Dr. Ellis corrected. "Past tense. Your father made some unfortunate investment decisions last quarter. He needed capital. I provided it. In exchange for 51% of voting shares." He paused. "Which means, Ms. Ashworth, that I am your boss." Victoria's hand flew to her throat. The diamond necklace she was wearing suddenly felt like a noose. "You're lying." "Call your father. He's been trying to reach you all evening. I imagine he has some bad news to share." Victoria grabbed her phone. Her fingers were shaking so badly she could barely unlock it. She had 17 missed calls, all from her father. She called him back. Marcus watched. Part of him wanted to leave. Lily was waiting. But part of him needed to see this, needed to see justice happen. "Daddy?" Victoria's voice had changed. The cruelty was gone. She sounded like a scared little girl.
"Daddy, there's a man here who says—"
She stopped talking. Her face crumpled. Whatever her father was saying, it was destroying her.
"But that's not possible. You said we were fine. You said—"
More silence. More crumbling.
"Daddy, please. I didn't know. I didn't know who he was. I was just—"
Her voice broke into a sob. She lowered the phone. Looked at Dr. Ellis. All the arrogance, all the cruelty, all the superiority had been stripped away. What remained was something small, something pathetic.
"I'm sorry,"
she whispered.
"I'm sorry. Please. I didn't mean—"
"Don't apologize to me," Dr. Ellis said coldly. "Apologize to him." He pointed at Marcus. Victoria turned. Her eyes met Marcus's. Mascara was running down her cheeks. Her perfect hair had come undone. She looked like a woman watching her entire world collapse.
"I'm sorry,"
she said. Her voice was barely audible.
"I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for what I said. I was wrong. I was cruel. I'm sorry."
Marcus looked at her. He thought about the spit on his face, the laughter, the word monkey. He thought about every person like her who had looked at him and seen nothing. Every rich customer who had treated him like furniture. Every moment of humiliation he had swallowed to keep his job, to pay his bills, to save his daughter. He should hate her. He had every right to hate her, but he didn't. He just felt tired. "I accept your apology," Marcus said quietly. "I hope you learn from this. I hope you become better." Victoria broke down completely. She buried her face in her hands and sobbed. Marcus looked at Dr. Ellis. "I have to go. My daughter." "Go," Dr. Ellis nodded. "I'll be at the hospital tomorrow morning. We have much to discuss about your future." "My future?" "Your daughter needs a father who isn't working double shifts for people who spit on him. You have a gift, Dr. Thompson. A gift I've been trying to find for years." Dr. Ellis's eyes were warm now. Kind. "Go be with your daughter. We'll talk tomorrow." Marcus nodded. He turned. He started walking toward the door. The restaurant was still silent. Every eye was on him. The staff, the patrons, even the kitchen crew who had emerged to watch. Then someone started clapping. It was Tanya, the bartender. She was standing by the bar, tears streaming down her face, clapping as hard as she could. Then another person joined. Then another. Then the whole restaurant was applauding. Marcus walked through the noise, through the cheers, through the crowd of wealthy strangers who were suddenly looking at him with something like respect. He pushed through the heavy oak doors and stepped into the cold night air. He didn't feel the cold. He didn't feel anything except the check in his pocket and the desperate need to see his daughter. He ran to the subway station. The train took 23 minutes. It felt like 23 years. Marcus sat in a plastic seat, staring at nothing. The check was in his hand. He had looked at it 40 times, making sure it was real, making sure the numbers hadn't changed, making sure he wasn't dreaming. $500,000. From a stranger who knew his name, who had read his dissertation, who had been looking for him for 6 years. Who was Raymond Ellis? Marcus knew the name. Everyone knew the name. The Ellis Foundation was one of the largest philanthropic organizations in the country. They funded universities, hospitals, research centers. They had given more money to education than some governments. And the man who ran it had just handed Marcus a check that would save his daughter's life. Why?
The train stopped. Marcus ran up the stairs, across the street, through the automatic doors, past the security desk, into the elevator, up to the 4th floor, down the hallway. Room 412. He stopped outside the door. Through the small window, he could see her. Lily, his baby girl. She was asleep, her small body almost swallowed by the hospital bed. Tubes ran from her arms. Monitors beeped softly. A stuffed elephant, the one Maria had given her the day she was born, was clutched against her chest. Marcus's heart shattered. He pushed open the door, quietly, carefully. Lily stirred. Her eyes opened, those big brown eyes that looked exactly like her mother's. "Daddy?" "Hey, baby girl." Marcus walked to the bed, sat on the edge, took her small hand in his. "I'm here. Daddy's here." "You came." Her voice was weak, tired. "I was scared you wouldn't come." "I will always come for you, Lily. Always. No matter what." She smiled, that gap-toothed smile that made everything worth it. "Daddy, the doctor came. She said I need the surgery sooner." Lily's eyes clouded with fear. "She said my heart is getting worse. Am I going to die?" Marcus felt his chest crack open. "No, baby, you are not going to die. Daddy promised you, remember? I promised you would get better, and Daddy keeps his promises." "You promise?" "I promise." He leaned down and kissed her forehead. "I promise with everything I am." Lily nodded. She believed him. She had always believed him. "Daddy?" "Yes, baby?" "Did something happen tonight? Your eyes are all red." Marcus laughed. It came out choked. "Something did happen," he said. "Something amazing. An angel came to help us, Lily. A real angel." "Like Mommy?" Marcus's breath caught. "Like Mommy. Yes. Like Mommy." Lily smiled again, sleepy now. The medication was pulling her back under. "Tell Mommy I love her," Lily murmured, "when you talk to her in your head. Tell her I love her and I miss her." "I will, baby. I will." "And tell her I'm being brave, like she said. I'm being brave." "You're the bravest person I know, Lily. The bravest person in the whole world." Lily's eyes closed, her breathing slowed. She was asleep. Marcus sat there, holding her hand. He cried. He cried for everything. For Maria. For Lily. For the years of struggle and pain and humiliation. For the job he had lost. The career he had sacrificed. The dreams he had buried. He cried for the stranger who had appeared out of nowhere and given him hope. He cried until there was nothing left. Then he dried his eyes. He pulled the check out of his pocket. He looked at it one more time. $500,000. His daughter was going to live. "Thank you," he whispered to no one. To everyone. To Maria. To God. To the universe. "Thank you." The door opened behind him. Marcus turned. A woman in a white coat entered. Dr. Okonkwo, Lily's cardiologist. She was Nigerian, mid-50s, with kind eyes and hands that had saved hundreds of children. "Mr. Thompson," she said softly, "I'm glad you came." "How bad is it?" Dr. Okonkwo pulled a chair close and sat down. Her face was serious, but not hopeless. That was something. "Lily's valve deterioration has accelerated. When we did the imaging last week, we thought we had 4 to 6 weeks. Now," she paused, "now we have days, maybe a week at most." Marcus felt the floor tilt beneath him. "Days? The surgery is her only option. Without it, her heart will fail within 10 days. With it, she has an excellent chance of a full recovery. But we need to operate by Friday at the latest." "Friday?
That's 3 days from now. Yes, Dr. Okonkwo's voice was gentle. I know we discussed the financial situation. I know you were still arranging. I have the money. Dr.
Okonkwo stopped. What? Marcus pulled out the check, handed it to her. The doctor's eyes went wide. She looked at the check, looked at Marcus, looked at the check again. This is... She couldn't finish. I know, I don't fully understand it either, but it's real. I called the bank on the way here. It's real. Dr. Okonkwo held the check like it was made of glass. Mr. Thompson, this is $500,000. I know. The surgery costs $73,000. I know. The rest is for whatever she needs. Recovery, physical therapy, follow-up care. Whatever it takes. The doctor looked at him. Her eyes were wet. Who gave this to you? A stranger. Marcus shook his head. No, not a stranger. An angel. Dr. Okonkwo was silent for a moment. Then she stood up. I'm going to schedule the surgery for Thursday morning. We'll prep her tomorrow. Run final tests. Make sure she's strong enough. She put her hand on Marcus's shoulder. Your daughter is going to be fine, Mr. Thompson. I truly believe that. Thank you, Dr. Okonkwo. Thank you for everything. The doctor nodded. She walked to the door, stopped. Mr. Thompson? Yes? I've been doing this for 30 years. I've seen parents mortgage their houses, sell their cars, beg on street corners to save their children. I've seen families destroyed by medical debt. I've seen marriages end. I've seen parents give up everything they have. She turned to look at him. I've never seen anyone receive a miracle like this. Whoever gave you that check, they saved more than your daughter. They saved you. She left. Marcus sat in the silence. His daughter's heart monitor beeped steadily. Outside the window, the city lights glittered like distant stars. He thought about Victoria Ashworth, about the spit on his face, about the word monkey, about every moment of humiliation he had endured. He thought about Dr. Ellis, the check, the words, no father should have to choose between his dignity and his daughter's life. He thought about Maria, about the night she died, about the last words she ever said to him. Take care of our baby, Marcus. Promise me. Promise me you'll take care of her. I kept my promise, Marcus whispered into the darkness. I kept my promise, Maria. Our baby is going to be okay. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It read, Mr. Thompson, this is Dr. Raymond Ellis. I hope you found your daughter well. I will be at the hospital at 9 a.m. tomorrow. There is something I need to tell you. Something about your future. Something I should have told you 6 years ago. Please meet me in the hospital chapel. Come alone. Marcus stared at the message. Something I should have told you 6 years ago. 6 years ago. The year Maria died. The year his whole life fell apart. The year he left Colombia. The year he disappeared. What did Raymond Ellis know about that year? What was he hiding? Marcus looked at his daughter. Sleeping. Peaceful. Safe. Then he looked at the phone. Something was wrong. Something didn't add up. A stranger doesn't hand you $500,000 without a reason. A man doesn't search for you for 6 years without a purpose. Who was Raymond Ellis? And what did he really want? Marcus didn't sleep. He sat in the plastic chair beside Lily's bed, watching her breathe. Every rise and fall of her small chest felt like a prayer answered. Every beep of the heart monitor felt like borrowed time. The text message burned in his mind. Something I should have told you 6 years ago. 6 years ago. Maria was alive 6 years ago. They were happy 6 years ago. He was Professor Marcus Thompson, rising star of the Columbia Linguistics Department,
with a beautiful wife and a baby daughter, and a future that stretched out before him like a golden road. Then the drunk driver ran a red light.
Then everything ended. Marcus pulled out his phone, read the message again. The words hadn't changed. The mystery hadn't solved itself. Who was Raymond Ellis? Really? Marcus had spent 2 hours researching him on his phone while Lily slept. The results were impressive, intimidating. Dr. Raymond Ellis, born 1954 in Birmingham, Alabama, son of a sharecropper, first in his family to attend college, Harvard, Oxford, PhD in international relations, career diplomat, ambassador to France under 2 presidents, founded the Ellis Foundation in 1998 after his wife died of cancer. Net worth estimated at $2.3 billion. A self-made man, a philanthropist, a legend. But none of that explained why he had been looking for Marcus Thompson for 6 years. None of that explained the check for $500,000. None of that explained the cryptic message about the past. What was the connection? The clock on the wall read 4:47 a.m. 4 hours until the meeting. Marcus leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. He didn't expect to sleep, but exhaustion pulled him under anyway, dragging him down into dreams of Maria and fire and a voice calling his name from very far away. He woke to sunlight. Lily was still sleeping. The nurses had come and gone, checking vitals, adjusting medications. The clock read 8:23 a.m. 37 minutes. Marcus stood. His body ached from the chair. His neck was stiff. His eyes felt like sandpaper. He walked to Lily's bed, leaned down, kissed her forehead. "I'll be back soon, baby," he whispered. "Daddy has to go talk to someone, but I'll be right back. I promise." Lily didn't stir. The medication kept her deep under. Marcus walked out of the room, down the hallway, past the nurse's station, into the elevator. The hospital chapel was on the 2nd floor. He had passed it 100 times, but never gone inside. He wasn't sure he believed in God anymore. Not after Maria. Not after watching his daughter fight for her life while he worked double shifts for people who spat in his face. But today, he was going to the chapel. Today, he was going to find out the truth. The elevator opened. Marcus walked down another hallway, following the signs. The chapel was at the end, behind a pair of wooden doors with small stained glass windows. He pushed them open. The room was small, simple. A few rows of wooden pews, a modest altar with a cross. Candles flickering in red glass holders. The morning light filtered through the windows, casting colored shadows on the floor. Dr. Raymond Ellis was sitting in the front pew. He turned when he heard Marcus enter. His face was different today. The authority was still there, but it was tempered by something else. Something that looked almost like guilt. "Dr. Thompson," Ellis said, "thank you for coming." Marcus walked down the aisle. His footsteps echoed in the silence. "I almost didn't," Marcus said. "I almost took your check and disappeared. Pretended last night never happened. But you didn't." "No." Marcus stopped at the end of the front pew. He didn't sit down. "Because your message said you've been looking for me for 6 years. It said there was something you should have told me. And I need to know what that means." Ellis nodded slowly. He gestured to the seat beside him. "Please, sit. This is going to be a difficult conversation." Marcus hesitated. Then he sat. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The candles flickered. The silence pressed down like a weight. "I knew your wife," Ellis said finally. Marcus's heart stopped. "What?" Maria Thompson. I knew her." Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. His hands gripped the edge of the pew. How
How did you know Maria? Ellis took a deep breath. His eyes were fixed on the altar, on the cross, on something Marcus couldn't see. 32 years ago, I made a terrible mistake. I was young, ambitious, climbing the diplomatic ladder faster than anyone expected. I was stationed in Lagos. I have an affair. Marcus said nothing. He couldn't speak. His throat had closed. The woman I had the affair with became pregnant. I was already married. My wife, my wonderful wife, she was back in Washington. She trusted me completely. Ellis's voice cracked. I panicked. I gave the woman money, told her to take care of it. I never saw her again. Marcus's mind was racing. Lagos, 32 years ago. An affair. A pregnancy. No, it couldn't be. The woman didn't take care of it, Ellis continued. She had the baby. A girl. She raised her alone, in poverty, while I climbed higher and higher. Ambassador, foundation chairman, billionaire. He laughed bitterly. I had everything, and I had abandoned my own child. Maria, Marcus whispered. Maria was born in Lagos. Her mother raised her alone. She never knew her father. She said he abandoned them before she was born. Ellis turned to look at Marcus. His eyes were wet. Maria Thompson was my daughter. Your wife was my daughter. And I never told her. I never reached out. I was too ashamed, too afraid, too selfish. The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. He stood up. His legs were shaking. You're lying. I wish I was. Maria's father abandoned her. She spent her whole life wondering why she wasn't good enough, why he didn't want her. She cried about it on our wedding night. She said she wished her father could have walked her down the aisle. Marcus's voice was rising. And you're telling me you were there? You were alive? You could have found her at any time? Yes. You could have been part of her life. You could have been at our wedding. You could have held Lily when she was born. You could have... Marcus couldn't finish. The rage was choking him. Why? He demanded. Why didn't you find her? Why didn't you tell her? Ellis stood up. He looked old suddenly, broken. Because I was a coward. Because I built my entire life on the lie that I was a good man, a family man, a man of integrity. If the truth came out, everything would crumble. My reputation, my marriage, my foundation. He shook his head. I told myself she was better off without me. I told myself she had moved on. I told myself 100 lies to help me sleep at night. Marcus was pacing now. His hands were in his hair. His mind was spinning. When did you find out about me? About us? 6 years ago, after Maria died. Marcus stopped. What? I had people monitoring her, from a distance. I knew when she got married. I knew when she had a baby. I knew when she died. Ellis's voice broke completely. I was in Paris when I heard. I flew back immediately. I went to the funeral. I stood in the back. You didn't see me. No one did. I watched them bury my daughter, and I couldn't even cry, because no one knew she was mine. Marcus remembered that day. The rain, the mud, the unbearable weight of the coffin as they lowered it into the ground. Lily in his arms, too young to understand, asking when Mommy was coming back. There had been a crowd, friends, family, strangers. He hadn't looked at any of them. He couldn't look at anything except the hole in the ground where his life was being buried. After the funeral, Ellis continued, I tried to find you, to help you. But you disappeared. You left Colombia. You moved. You changed your phone number. You fell off the map completely. I was drowning, Marcus said. In debt. In grief. I couldn't stay in the life Maria and I had built. Everything reminded me of her. I understand. And I kept searching. For 6 years, I had people looking for you. Last year, I finally found you, working at Laroni, serving food to people who didn't deserve to shine your shoes." Marcus laughed. It was a harsh, painful sound. "So you've been watching me, for a year, watching me get humiliated, watching me struggle.
And you did nothing? I wanted to approach you 100 times, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what to say. How do you tell a man that you're the father-in-law he never knew? The grandfather who abandoned his family? The coward who let his daughter grow up in poverty while he lived in mansions?" Ellis's voice broke. "I was going to approach you last night. I had it all planned. I was going to introduce myself, tell you everything, offer you a job at the foundation, make up for lost time." He shook his head. "And then that woman spat in your face, and I watched you stand there and take it. And I watched you destroy her with nothing but words. And I knew." "Knew what?" "I knew that Maria chose well. She married a man of strength, a man of dignity, a man who deserved so much better than the life I let him fall into." Marcus sat back down. His legs wouldn't hold him anymore. "Lily," he said suddenly. "Lily is your granddaughter." "Yes, she's been in this hospital for 3 months, fighting for her life, and her grandfather was out there the whole time, watching, waiting, doing nothing. I didn't know about her condition until last night. I swear to you, Marcus, if I had known, I would have come sooner. I would have paid for everything. I would have—" "You would have what?" Marcus's voice was cold now, controlled. "You would have swept in like a hero, thrown money at the problem, pretended you were a good man?" Ellis flinched. "I deserve that." "You deserve worse." Marcus stood up again. He was trembling with rage. Maria spent her whole life with a hole in her heart where her father should have been. She used to wake up crying from dreams where she met him, where he held her, where he told her he loved her. "Marcus," she wrote him letters. Did you know that? Letters she never sent. Dozens of them. In a box under our bed. Letters asking why. Why did he leave? Why didn't he want her? What did she do wrong? Ellis was crying now, tears streaming down his face. "I didn't know." She burned them, the week before she died. She said she was finally letting go, finally accepting that she would never know. And then she died, and she never knew. She never knew her father was one of the richest men in America. She never knew he had been watching her whole life. She never knew he was too much of a coward to pick up the phone. Marcus was shouting now. His voice echoed off the chapel walls. "Maria deserved better. Lily deserves better. I deserve better." Ellis stood up. He walked toward Marcus. His hands were out, pleading. "You're right. You're right about everything. I failed Maria. I failed you. I failed Lily. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to make up for it." He stopped in front of Marcus. "But I'm here now. I'm begging you to let me try. Not for my sake, for Lily's sake, for Maria's sake." Marcus stared at him. This was the man who had given him $500,000. The man who had humiliated Victoria Ashworth. The man who had saved his daughter's life. This was also the man who had abandoned Maria, who had watched from the shadows while Marcus's life fell apart, who had hidden behind his wealth and reputation while his own granddaughter fought for her life. Which man was real? Both of them. That was the terrible truth. Both of them were real. "I don't know if I can forgive you," Marcus said finally. His voice was quiet now, exhausted. "I don't know if I can ever look at you without seeing all the years Maria spent wondering why her father didn't love her." "I understand. But Lily," Marcus closed his eyes. "Lily has already lost her mother. She doesn't have any grandparents. My parents are gone. Maria's mother died when she was 20. Lily has no one except me." Ellis waited. If you want to be part of her life, you have to earn it. You don't get to buy your way in with checks. You don't get to show up when it's convenient. You show up every day. You call. You write. You be there, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I will. If you ever abandon her the way you abandoned Maria, I will destroy you. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how powerful you are. I will spend the rest of my life making sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are. I understand. And one more thing. Ellis waited. Lily doesn't know any of this. She's 8 years old. She's about to have heart surgery. This is not the time to tell her that her grandfather is a stranger who abandoned her mother. Marcus's voice hardened. You tell her when I say you can tell her. When she's ready. When she's strong enough. Not before. Agreed. Marcus looked at Ellis for a long moment. The rage was still there. The betrayal. The grief. But underneath it all, there was something else. Hope. Lily was going to have surgery. She was going to survive. And she was going to have a family. A bigger family than she had ever known. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't fair. It wasn't the way things should have been. But it was something. Okay, Marcus said. Okay, we'll try. For Lily. For Maria. Ellis exhaled. Relief flooded his face. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. He extended his hand. Marcus looked at it. The hand of the man who had abandoned his wife. The hand of the man who had saved his daughter. The hand of a coward and a hero, and everything in between. He took it. They shook. Now, Marcus said, I need to get back to Lily. She'll be waking up soon. And she doesn't like to wake up alone. Of course. Ellis reached into his pocket, pulled out another card. This is my direct number. Call me anytime, day or night, whatever you need. Marcus took the card. There is one more thing, Ellis said. The job I mentioned last night. At the foundation. I wasn't just offering it out of guilt. I've read everything you've written, your dissertation, your articles, your research on colonial linguistics. You're brilliant, Marcus. One of the most gifted linguists I've ever encountered. That was a long time ago. Talent doesn't expire. Ellis's voice was firm. The foundation is opening a new center here in New York. We're digitizing and translating 3 million documents from the 18th century French aristocracy. Letters, diaries, legal records. Most of them have never been studied. We need someone to lead the project. Someone who understands language. Someone who can see the soul behind the words. Marcus felt something stir in his chest. Something that had been dead for 6 years. You're offering me a job. I'm offering you your life back. A salary of $200,000 a year. Full benefits. Flexible hours so you can take care of Lily. And a chance to do what you were born to do. Marcus thought about the restaurant. The spit on his face. The years of humiliation. The dreams he had buried along with his wife. He thought about Lily. About the surgery. About the future. He thought about Maria. About what she would want for him. For their daughter. I'll think about it, Marcus said. Ellis nodded. That's all I ask. Marcus turned to leave. He walked up the aisle, toward the wooden doors with the stained glass windows. Marcus? He stopped. Maria would be proud of you, Ellis said. I know I have no right to say that. But I knew her, even from a distance. I watched her grow up. I watched her become the woman you fell in love with. And I know, without any doubt, that she would be proud of the father you've become. Marcus didn't turn around. His throat was too tight to speak. He pushed through the doors and walked back into the hospital. Back to Lily. Back to whatever came next. Behind him, in the chapel, Raymond Ellis sat back down in the pew. He looked up at the cross, at the candles,
at the colored light streaming through the windows. And for the first time in 32 years, he prayed. Lily was awake when Marcus returned. She was sitting up in bed, her small hands wrapped around a cup of apple juice. The nurse had braided her hair while Marcus was gone, 2 neat plaits tied with pink ribbons. She looked so much like Maria that it hurt to breathe. "Daddy!" Her face lit up when she saw him. "Where did you go? I woke up and you weren't here." Marcus crossed the room in 3 strides. He sat on the edge of her bed and pulled her into his arms, careful not to disturb the IV line. "I'm sorry, baby. Daddy had to talk to someone. But I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere." "Promise?" "Promise." Lily pulled back and looked at him. Her eyes narrowed with a particular suspicion that only children possess. "You look different, Daddy." "Different how?" "I don't know." She tilted her head. "Your eyes look heavy, like you've been carrying something big." Marcus laughed to spite himself. 8 years old, and she could read him like a book. Just like her mother. "I have been carrying something big," he admitted. "But it's okay now. Everything is going to be okay." "Is it about my surgery?" Marcus took her hand, squeezed it gently. "The doctors say we need to do the surgery sooner than we thought. Tomorrow morning." Lily's face went pale. Her grip tightened on Marcus's hand. "Tomorrow? But I thought we had more time." "I know, baby, I know. But Dr. Okonkwo says you're ready. She says you're strong enough. And the sooner we fix your heart, the sooner you can come home." "Will it hurt?" "You'll be asleep the whole time. When you wake up, I'll be right there. I'll be the first thing you see. I promise." Lily was quiet for a moment. She looked down at her hands. When she spoke again, her voice was small. "Daddy, what if I don't wake up?" Marcus felt his heart crack. "Lily, look at me." She looked up. Her eyes were wet. "You are going to wake up. You are going to get better. You are going to grow up and do amazing things. You're going to go to college and fall in love and have babies of your own someday. And I'm going to be there for all of it, every single moment." "How do you know?" "Because I promised your mother. The day you were born, I held you in my arms, and I promised her that I would protect you, that I would keep you safe, that I would never, ever let anything bad happen to you." Marcus's voice broke. "And I keep my promises, Lily. Always." Lily stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, Daddy. I believe you." She leaned forward and wrapped her thin arms around his neck. Marcus held her tight, pressing his face against her hair, breathing in the smell of hospital shampoo and apple juice and childhood. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, baby. More than all the stars." "More than all the stars and the moon." "More than all the stars and the moon and the whole entire universe." Lily giggled. The sound was like music. The door opened behind them. Marcus turned. Dr. Okonkwo was standing in the doorway with another woman. The other woman was younger, maybe 30, wearing scrubs and carrying a clipboard. "Mr. Thompson," Dr. Okonkwo said, "this is Dr. Patel. She'll be assisting with Lily's surgery tomorrow. We need to go over the procedure with you. Do you have a few minutes?" Marcus looked at Lily. "Will you be okay for a little while?" Lily nodded bravely. "I have Mr. Elephant. He'll protect me." She held up the stuffed elephant, the one Maria had given her the day she was born. Its gray fur was worn thin from years of hugging. One ear had been sewn back on 3 times. Marcus kissed her forehead. "I'll be right back." He followed the doctors into the hallway. They walked to a small conference room at the end of the corridor. The walls were lined with medical charts and diagrams of the human heart. "Please, sit," Dr. Okonkwo said.
Marcus sat. The doctor sat across from him. "Mr. Thompson," Dr. Okonkwo began, "I want to be completely honest with you about what we're facing tomorrow." "I appreciate that." "Lily's condition is called tricuspid valve atresia. It's a congenital defect, something she was born with. The valve between the right atrium and right ventricle of her heart didn't form properly. For the past 8 years, her heart has been working overtime to compensate." "I know. You explained this when she was diagnosed." "What's changed is the rate of deterioration. 6 months ago, her heart was functioning at about 60% capacity. Last week, it was down to 45%. Yesterday's imaging showed it's now at 38%. Marcus felt cold. "What does that mean?" Dr. Patel leaned forward. "It means her heart is failing faster than we anticipated. The surgery we're performing tomorrow, a modified Fontan procedure, will essentially reroute the blood flow in her heart. It's a complex surgery. It takes about 6 to 8 hours. And the risks?" The doctors exchanged a glance. "Mr. Thompson," Dr. Okonkwo said carefully, "I won't lie to you. This is major surgery. There are risks. Bleeding, infection, blood clots. In rare cases, the heart can fail during the procedure." "What are the odds? Give me a number." Another glance between the doctors. "The success rate for this procedure, in a patient like Lily, is approximately 85%. Marcus did the math in his head. 85% success rate. That meant 15% chance of failure. 15% chance that his daughter wouldn't survive. 15% chance that he would lose everything. "And if we don't do the surgery?" Dr. Okonkwo's face was grave. "Without the surgery, Lily's heart will continue to fail. She would have weeks, maybe a month. The surgery is her only option." Marcus closed his eyes. He thought about Maria, about the night she died, about standing in the morgue, looking at her face, knowing that she was gone and he would never hear her laugh again. He couldn't do that again. He couldn't survive that again. But he didn't have a choice. "Do the surgery," Marcus said. "Save my daughter." Dr. Okonkwo nodded. "We'll prep her tonight. The surgery is scheduled for 7 a.m. tomorrow. You can stay with her until they take her to the OR. I'm not leaving her side." "I know." Dr. Okonkwo's voice softened. "Mr. Thompson, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've seen hundreds of cases like Lily's. She's a fighter. I can see it in her eyes. That little girl is going to come through this." "You really believe that?" "I do." Dr. Okonkwo stood up. "Now go be with your daughter. She needs you." Marcus stood. He shook both doctors' hands. Then he walked back to Lily's room. She was asleep again. The apple juice was half finished on the bedside table. Mr. Elephant was clutched against her chest. Marcus sat down in the chair beside her bed. He took her hand. He watched her breathe, and he prayed. The afternoon passed slowly. Nurses came and went. They took blood samples. They ran tests. They adjusted medications. Lily slept through most of it, her body conserving energy for the battle ahead. At 4 p.m., Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Ellis. "How is she?" Marcus hesitated. His feelings about Ellis were still raw, still complicated. But he had agreed to let the man be part of Lily's life. That meant communication. He typed back. "Surgery is tomorrow at 7 a.m. She's scared, but trying to be brave." The response came quickly. "I'm in the hospital. May I come see her?" Marcus looked at Lily, still sleeping, still innocent, still unaware that her grandfather was a complicated man who had abandoned her mother. He typed, "Not yet. She doesn't know who you are. I need time to figure out how to explain this." A pause. Then, "I understand. I'll be in the waiting room tomorrow during the surgery. If you need anything, anything at all, I'm here." Marcus put down the phone. He didn't respond. At 6 p.m., Lily woke up hungry. Marcus called the nurse, who brought a tray of food. Hospital food. Bland chicken, mashed potatoes, green jello. Lily made a face.
This is gross, Daddy.
"I know, baby, but you need to eat. You need to be strong for tomorrow." Lily poked at the chicken with her fork.
When I get better, can we go to McDonald's?
Marcus laughed. "When you get better, I'll take you to any restaurant you want. McDonald's, Burger King, that fancy Italian place on 7th that Mommy used to love." Lily's eyes lit up.
Cafe Milano? Really?
"Really? We'll dress up nice. You can order spaghetti with extra meatballs and tiramisu for dessert."
Mommy loved tiramisu.
"She did." Marcus's voice caught. "She used to say it was the only dessert worth eating." Lily was quiet for a moment. She pushed a piece of chicken around her plate. "Daddy, do you think Mommy is watching us? From heaven?" Marcus felt his throat tighten. "I know she is, baby. She's watching over you every single second. And tomorrow, when you're in surgery, she'll be right there beside you, keeping you safe. Do you think she's proud of me?" "Lily, your mother is the proudest mother in all of heaven. She tells all the other angels about you. She says, 'That's my daughter, my brave, beautiful daughter.' Isn't she amazing?" Lily smiled, a real smile, the kind that reached her eyes.
I miss her, Daddy.
"I miss her too, baby, every single day."
But we still have each other, right?
"Always, no matter what. You and me, Lily. Forever." Lily nodded. She ate a few more bites of chicken. Then she pushed the tray away.
Daddy, will you tell me a story? The one about how you and Mommy met?
It was her favorite story. Marcus had told it 100 times. But he would tell it 100 more if she asked. "Okay," he said. "Close your eyes." Lily closed her eyes. Marcus took a breath. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Marcus. He was studying at a big university, learning about languages and words and all the ways people communicate. He thought he was very smart. He thought he knew everything. "But he didn't," Lily murmured. "That's right, he didn't. Because one day he walked into a coffee shop near the university, and there, sitting at a table by the window, was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen.
Mommy.
Mommy. She was reading a book, a very thick, very serious book about chemistry. Because your mother was studying to be a scientist. She wanted to understand how things worked, how the world was made.
What did you do?
I walked up to her table. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. And I said, "Excuse me, but I couldn't help noticing you're reading about molecular bonds. Did you know that the word chemistry comes from the Arabic word alchemia, which means the art of transformation?" Lily giggled. "That's such a nerdy thing to say." It really was. Your mother looked at me like I had two heads, and then she laughed. She had the most beautiful laugh, Lily, like bells ringing, like music playing. And she said, "That's the worst pickup line I've ever heard." And then what? And then she invited me to sit down, and we talked for 6 hours about everything, about science and language and dreams and fears. And by the time the coffee shop closed, I knew.
Knew what?
I knew I was going to marry her. I knew I was going to spend the rest of my life with her. I knew that I had found the person I was supposed to find. Lily's breathing had slowed. She was almost asleep.
And then what happened, Daddy?
And then we got married. And then we had you. And having you was the happiest day of our lives. Your mother held you in her arms and she cried. She said, "Marcus, look at her. She's perfect. She's absolutely perfect."
Was I perfect?
You were. You are. You always will be. Lily's eyes were closed now. Her chest rose and fell slowly.
"I love you, Daddy,"
she whispered.
I love you too, baby, more than anything in the world. She was asleep. Marcus sat there, holding her hand, watching her breathe. The night stretched on. At 5:30 a.m., the nurses came. They woke Lily gently. They helped her into a hospital gown. They checked her vitals one more time. They explained, in soft, kind voices, what was going to happen. Lily was quiet, calm, braver than any 8-year-old should have to be. At 6:45 a.m., the orderlies arrived with a gurney. "It's time, Mr. Thompson," one of them said. Marcus helped Lily onto the gurney. She looked so small, so fragile, so impossibly young.
Daddy,
Her voice was tiny.
I'm scared.
Marcus leaned down. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her nose. "Remember what I told you. I'll be right here waiting. The second you wake up, I'll be there. The very first thing you see will be me. I promise."
Pinky promise?
Marcus extended his pinky. Lily wrapped hers around it. Pinky promise. They started wheeling her toward the operating room. Marcus walked beside the gurney, holding her hand. They reached the double doors, the ones that led to the surgical suite, the ones Marcus couldn't go through. "This is as far as you can go, Mr. Thompson," the nurse said gently. Marcus nodded. He squeezed Lily's hand one more time. "I love you, Lily. I love you so much. You're going to be fine. You're going to be amazing. And when you wake up, we're going to plan that trip to Cafe Milano." Lily smiled weakly.
With extra meatballs?
"With all the meatballs in the world."
Okay, Daddy.
"I'll see you soon." "See you soon, baby." They pushed her through the doors. Marcus watched until the last moment, until the doors swung closed and his daughter disappeared into the cold, sterile world of the operating room. Then he was alone. Marcus stood there for a long moment. His legs felt like they might collapse. His hands were shaking. He walked to the waiting room. It was nearly empty at this hour. A few plastic chairs, a television playing morning news on mute, a vending machine humming in the corner, and Dr. Raymond Ellis. He was sitting in one of the chairs, a cup of coffee untouched beside him. He stood when Marcus entered. "Marcus." Marcus didn't respond. He walked to a chair on the opposite side of the room and sat down. Ellis hesitated. Then he walked over and sat down 2 chairs away. Not too close, not too far. They sat in silence. The clock on the wall ticked. 7 a.m. The surgery had started. "Can I get you anything?" Ellis asked.
Coffee? Water? Marcus shook his head. More silence.
"Maria used to do that," Ellis said quietly. "When she was nervous, she would go completely silent, turn inward. I watched her do it at her college graduation, at her wedding, when she was in labor with Lily." Marcus looked at him sharply. "You were at Maria's graduation?" "I was in the back. She didn't know. No one did." "And our wedding?" "Back row, left side. I left before the reception." "And Lily's birth?" "I was in the hospital. Different floor. I bribed a nurse to tell me when the baby was born. When I heard it was a girl, I cried. I sat in a stairwell and cried like a child." Marcus felt the familiar surge of anger. You could have walked in. You could have introduced yourself. You could have been part of her life. "I know." Instead, you watched from the shadows like some kind of ghost. "I know." Ellis's voice was heavy. "I've told myself 1,000 times that I was protecting her, protecting my other family. But the truth is, I was protecting myself. I was a coward. I am a coward." Marcus said nothing. The clock ticked. 7:15 a.m. "I've been thinking," Ellis said. About what I can do, what I should do. Money isn't enough, I know that. A check doesn't make up for 30 years of absence. No, it doesn't. So I've been thinking about something else. Something more permanent. Ellis turned to face Marcus. The Ellis Foundation has a medical research wing. We fund studies on congenital heart defects, among other things. Next month, we're announcing a new grant program. $10 million a year for research into pediatric cardiac conditions. Marcus looked at him. Why are you telling me this? Because I want to name it after Maria. The Maria Thompson Research Grant. So that her name will be attached to saving children's lives for generations. So that she'll be remembered. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. The anger didn't disappear, but something else was there too.
Something softer. You'd do that? I'd do anything, Ellis said. Anything to make up for what I've done. I know I can never fully atone. I know I can never undo the damage. But I can try. I can spend whatever time I have left trying to be worthy of forgiveness, even if I never receive it. The clock ticked. 7:30 a.m. Maria wrote a letter, Marcus said suddenly. Ellis looked at him. What? After Lily was born, she wrote a letter to you, to her father. She never sent it. I found it in her things after she died. I kept it. What did it say? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. The memory was painful. He had only read it once, in the dark days after the funeral, and then he had put it away and never looked at it again. It said she forgave you. She said she used to be angry, used to hate you for leaving. But then she had Lily, and she understood that parents are just people, flawed, scared, capable of terrible mistakes. Marcus's voice cracked. She said if she ever met you, she would tell you that she turned out okay, that she had a good life, that she found love, that she was happy. Ellis covered his face with his hands. His shoulders shook. She said she hoped you found peace, Marcus continued. She said she hoped you didn't carry the guilt forever. She said she hoped, wherever you were, you knew that she was okay. Ellis was crying openly now. The sound of it filled the quiet waiting room. She forgave me, he whispered. She forgave me, and I never knew. She forgave you before she even met you. Marcus's own eyes were wet. That's the kind of person she was. That's the kind of heart she had. The clock ticked, 8 a.m. They sat in silence. The television flickered. The vending machine hummed. The world continued spinning, indifferent to the miracle and tragedy happening in the operating room below. At 8:47 a.m., Marcus's phone rang. It was the hospital number. His heart stopped. Hello? Mr. Thompson, this is Nurse Williams. Dr. Okonkwo asked me to give you an update. Is she okay? Is Lily okay? The surgery is progressing well. They've completed the first phase. Lily is stable. Her vitals are strong. Marcus exhaled. His whole body sagged with relief. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll call again when there's more news. He hung up. Ellis was watching him. Well? She's stable. The first phase is done. Ellis closed his eyes. Thank God. The clock ticked on. 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. More updates came, each one the same. Stable, progressing, strong vitals. At 1:23 p.m., the double doors opened. Dr. Okonkwo walked through. She was still in her surgical scrubs. There was sweat on her brow. She looked exhausted, but she was smiling. Marcus jumped to his feet. His heart was pounding so hard he could hear it. Dr. Okonkwo, is she? The surgery was a success. Dr. Okonkwo's smile widened. Lily came through beautifully. The new valve is functioning perfectly. Her heart is already showing improved function. Marcus's legs gave out. He fell into the chair. His hands covered his face. Sobs tore out of him, deep, wrenching sobs that he couldn't control.
"She's okay," he gasped. "She's okay. She's okay."
"She's more than okay," Dr. Okonkwo said. "She's a fighter, one of the strongest little girls I've ever operated on." Ellis had risen too. Tears were streaming down his face.
"Can I see her?" Marcus asked. "Can I see my daughter?"
"She's in recovery now. She won't wake up for another hour or two, but yes, you can see her." Marcus stood on shaking legs. He grabbed Dr. Okonkwo's hands.
"Thank you. Thank you for saving my daughter."
"It's my job, Mr. Thompson." Dr. Okonkwo squeezed his hands. "But this one was special. Go be with her. She'll want to see you when she wakes up." Marcus turned to leave. Then he stopped. He looked at Ellis. The old man was standing there, tears on his face, alone. Marcus thought about Maria, about forgiveness, about second chances. He walked back to Ellis. "Come on," Marcus said. "Come meet your granddaughter." Ellis's face crumpled. "Are you sure?" "No," Marcus admitted. "But Maria would want this. And right now, that's enough." They walked together through the double doors, toward Lily, toward whatever came next. The recovery room was quiet except for the soft beeping of monitors. Lily lay in a bed that seemed even bigger than the one upstairs. Tubes and wires connected her to machines that tracked every heartbeat, every breath. Her face was pale, her eyes closed, her small body still under the white blankets. But she was alive. Marcus stood in the doorway, unable to move. His daughter. His baby girl. She had survived. She had come through the fire. "You can go to her," the nurse said softly. "She can probably hear you, even if she can't respond yet." Marcus walked to the bed. His legs felt like they belonged to someone else. He sat in the chair beside her and took her hand. So small, so fragile, so impossibly precious. "Hey, baby," he whispered. "Daddy's here. I told you I'd be the first thing you see when you wake up. I keep my promises, remember?" Lily didn't stir, but her heart monitor beeped steadily, strong, rhythmic, the sound of life continuing. Ellis stood at the foot of the bed. He hadn't said a word since they entered the room. He was staring at Lily with an expression Marcus had never seen on another human face. Grief and joy and regret and hope all tangled together. "She looks like her," Ellis said finally. His voice was barely audible. "She looks exactly like Maria did at that age." "How would you know?" "I have photographs, taken from a distance, by the people I hired to watch over her." Ellis's voice cracked. "I know how that sounds. I know it's wrong. But it was the only way I could see my daughter grow up, through stolen pictures and second-hand reports." Marcus should have been angry. Part of him was. But a larger part was too exhausted, too relieved, too overwhelmed by the fact that Lily was alive. "Show me," Marcus said. Ellis looked at him. "What?" "The photographs. Show me." Ellis hesitated. Then he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his wallet. From behind the credit cards and business cards, he extracted a worn, folded photograph. He handed it to Marcus. It was Maria, maybe 7 or 8 years old. She was standing on a playground, laughing, her braids flying behind her as she swung on a swing. The photo was slightly blurry, clearly taken from far away. But her face was clear. Her joy was clear. Marcus felt tears slide down his cheeks. "I've carried that for 25 years, Ellis said. "Every day. Every single day." Marcus looked at the photo, then at Lily, then at Ellis. "She would have wanted to know you," Marcus said. "Maria, despite everything, despite the abandonment, she would have wanted to know her father." "You think so?" "I know so. She told me once, late at night after Lily was born. She said she used to dream about meeting him, her father. She used to imagine what he looked like, what his voice sounded like, what he would say to her. Marcus's voice was thick. She said she would have forgiven him, instantly, without hesitation, because that's who she was. Ellis covered his mouth with his hand. A sound escaped him, something between a sob and a gasp. "I wasted so much time," he whispered. "So much precious time." "Yes, you did." "I can't get it back." "No, you can't." "But I can be here now. For Lily. For you. I can be here." Marcus looked at his daughter, at the machines keeping her alive, at the future stretching out before them, uncertain, terrifying, but full of possibility. "Yes," he said, "you can be here now." They sat in silence. The monitors beeped. The minutes passed. At 3:47 p.m., Lily's eyes fluttered open.
Daddy?
Marcus leaned forward, his heart exploding with relief. "I'm here, baby. I'm right here. I told you I would be." Lily blinked slowly. Her eyes were unfocused, still clouded with anesthesia. But she was awake. She was alive. She was looking at him.
Did it work?
She asked. Her voice was a whisper.
Is my heart fixed?
"It worked, baby. The doctors fixed everything. You're going to be okay." A small smile crossed Lily's face.
I dreamed about Mommy.
Marcus felt his breath catch. "You did?"
She was there, in my dream. She was wearing a white dress, and she was smiling. She said she was proud of me. She said I was brave.
Tears spilled down Marcus's cheeks. "You are brave, Lily. The bravest person I know."
Mommy said something else.
"What did she say?" Lily's eyes drifted to the foot of the bed, to Ellis. Her brow furrowed slightly.
Who's that, Daddy?
Marcus looked at Ellis. The old man was frozen, his face a mask of fear and hope. This was the moment Marcus had been dreading, the moment he had to decide what to tell his daughter. He thought about Maria, about the letter she had written, about forgiveness, about second chances. "Lily," Marcus said slowly, This is someone who knew your mommy, a long time ago. He came to make sure you were okay." Lily studied Ellis with the frank curiosity of a child. "Did you know my mommy when she was little?" Ellis swallowed hard. His voice came out rough. "I did. She was a wonderful person, even as a little girl. She was kind and smart and brave, just like you." "What's your name?" "Raymond, but you can call me Ray." Lily nodded slowly. Her eyes were getting heavy again. The anesthesia was pulling her back under.
Ray, she murmured. That's a nice name. Mommy would have liked you.
She closed her eyes. Within seconds, she was asleep again. Ellis stood at the foot of the bed, tears streaming down his face.
She said Mommy would have liked me, he whispered. She said Maria would have liked me.
Marcus looked at his daughter, at her peaceful face, at the steady rhythm of her breathing. "Maria did like you," Marcus said. "She never met you, but she liked you. She forgave you. She hoped you found peace." Ellis broke down completely. His sobs were silent, his shoulders shaking, decades of guilt and grief pouring out of him. Marcus stood up. He walked to Ellis, and he did something he never thought he would do. He hugged him. Ellis stiffened in surprise. Then he collapsed into the embrace, clinging to Marcus like a drowning man clinging to a lifeline.
"Thank you,"
Ellis gasped.
"Thank you, thank you."
"This is for Maria," Marcus said. "This is what she would have wanted."
They stood there for a long moment. Two men who had lost the same woman. Two men who loved the same little girl. Two men who were, despite everything, family. Finally, Marcus stepped back. "She's going to need time," he said. "Lily, before we tell her the truth. She needs to recover. She needs to get strong. And she needs to get to know you first. As Ray. As her mother's friend. When she's ready, when she's older, we'll tell her everything." "I understand. Can you live with that?" "I can live with anything," Ellis said, "as long as I get to be part of her life." Marcus nodded. "Okay, then we'll figure this out. Together." 3 weeks passed. Lily recovered faster than anyone expected. The surgery had been a complete success. Her new valve was functioning perfectly. Her heart was stronger than it had ever been. On the day she was discharged from the hospital, she walked out the front doors holding Marcus's hand on one side and Ray's hand on the other.
"Daddy," she said, "can we go to Cafe Milano now? You promised."
Marcus laughed. "We can absolutely go to Cafe Milano, but first, we need to stop at home. There's something I need to show you." "What is it?" "A surprise." The apartment in Queens looked different when they arrived. Not the apartment itself. That was the same cramped, worn space Marcus had been living in for 3 years. But what was inside had changed. Boxes were stacked everywhere. Moving boxes, labeled in Marcus's careful handwriting. Books. Kitchen. Lily's room. Lily's eyes went wide.
"Daddy, what's happening? Are we moving?"
"We are, baby."
"Where? Where are we going?"
Marcus knelt down so he was at her eye level. "Do you remember when I used to be a teacher, before Mommy died?" Lily nodded.
"You taught languages at a big university."
"That's right. Well, Ray has offered me a job, a new job, teaching and researching at his foundation. It's the kind of work I used to do, the kind of work I love." Lily's face lit up.
"You're going to be a teacher again?"
"I am. And we're moving to a new apartment, a bigger one, with a room for you that has a window overlooking a park, and a kitchen where we can cook together, and a living room where we can watch movies on a real couch instead of that old mattress on the floor." Lily threw her arms around his neck.
"Really? Really, really?"
"Really, really." She pulled back, her eyes shining.
"Does this mean we're not poor anymore?"
The question hit Marcus like a punch to the gut. He had tried so hard to shield her from their struggles. But children knew. They always knew. "We were never poor, Lily. Not in the ways that matter. We had each other. We had love. That's worth more than all the money in the world." He touched her face. "But yes, things are going to be easier now. We're going to be okay." Lily hugged him again. Then she turned to Ellis.
"Ray, are you going to visit us in the new apartment?"
Ellis smiled. His eyes were wet. "If you'll have me."
"Of course I'll have you. You're like family now."
She paused, her head tilted. "You know what's weird?" "What's weird?" "I feel like I've known you forever, even though we just met. Is that crazy?" Ellis looked at Marcus. Marcus nodded slightly. "It's not crazy at all," Ellis said. "Sometimes people are connected, even before they meet, by something bigger than both of them." Lily nodded seriously. "Like Mommy, she connects us, because she loved both of you, and she loved me, so we're all connected, like a chain." Out of the mouths of babes, Marcus thought. Out of the mouths of babes. "Exactly like a chain," he said. 1 month later, Marcus walked into the Ellis Foundation for his first day of work. The building was beautiful, a converted warehouse in Chelsea, all exposed brick and soaring ceilings and natural light. His office was on the 3rd floor. It had a window overlooking the Hudson River and a bookshelf that stretched from floor to ceiling. On his desk was a nameplate. Dr. Marcus Thompson, Director of Linguistic Research. He ran his fingers over the letters. It felt surreal. A dream he had given up on years ago, suddenly real again. There was a knock on the door. He turned. Ellis was standing there, with a folder in his hand. "How does it feel?" Ellis asked. "Like I'm going to wake up any second and find out I'm still wiping tables at Laroni?" Ellis smiled. "You're not dreaming. This is real. This is your life now." He handed Marcus the folder. "What's this?" "Your first project. We've acquired a collection of letters from the French Revolution. 3,000 documents, never before translated. They were written by aristocrats awaiting execution. Last words, final thoughts, messages to loved ones they knew they would never see again." Marcus opened the folder. Inside were photocopies of yellowed paper, covered in faded handwriting. He could read snippets, pleas for mercy, declarations of love, farewells to children who would grow up orphaned. "These are incredible," Marcus breathed. "I thought you might appreciate them, given everything you've been through." Ellis's voice softened. These were people facing the end, facing the loss of everything they loved. And they found the words anyway. They wrote their truth, even knowing no one might ever read it. Marcus thought about Maria, about the letter she had written to her father, the one she never sent, the one that had carried her forgiveness across the years. "I'll do them justice," Marcus said. "I promise." Ellis nodded. "I know you will." He turned to leave, then stopped at the door. "Marcus?" "Yes?" "I want you to know something. This job, it's not charity. It's not guilt money. I didn't give you this position because I owe you, or because I'm trying to buy forgiveness." He paused. "I gave you this position because you're the best person for it. Because your mind is extraordinary. Because you deserve to be here." Marcus looked at him. "Thank you, Ray. Thank you for giving an old man a second chance he didn't deserve." He left. Marcus sat down at his desk. He opened the folder again. He began to read, and for the first time in 6 years, he felt like himself again. 6 months passed. The Maria Thompson Research Grant was announced to the world. $10 million a year dedicated to pediatric cardiac research. The press conference was covered by every major news outlet. Maria's photograph, the one from their wedding day, radiant in white, was shown on television screens across the country. Marcus watched the coverage with Lily on the couch in their new apartment. Their real apartment, with real furniture and a real kitchen, and Lily's room with a window overlooking Central Park. "Daddy, that's Mommy!" Lily pointed at the screen. "That's right, baby. Ray's foundation is naming a big research project after her, so that other little girls like you can get better hearts." Lily watched the screen with wide eyes. "Mommy's famous now." She always deserved to be. "Ray loved Mommy a lot, didn't he?" Marcus felt his chest tighten. "He did, Lily, very much." "Is that why he helps us? Because he loved Mommy?" Marcus looked at his daughter, at her bright eyes, at her quick mind, at the way she was already piecing things together. "Partly," he said carefully. "But he also helps us because he loves you, and because he wants to be part of our family." Lily nodded, satisfied with this answer. She cuddled closer to Marcus on the couch. "Daddy, I'm glad we have Ray. He makes our family bigger. And families should be big. Mommy always said that." Mommy was right. She was right about a lot of things. She really was, baby. She really was. The news report shifted to another story, a scandal in the business world. Marcus was about to change the channel when a familiar face appeared on the screen. Victoria Ashworth. She looked nothing like the woman who had spat in his face. Her hair was disheveled. Her makeup was smeared,
She was being escorted out of a courthouse by lawyers, surrounded by reporters shouting questions. The former heiress to the Ashworth technology fortune was sentenced today to 18 months in federal prison for securities fraud, the anchor announced. Victoria Ashworth, whose family empire collapsed following a hostile takeover by the Ellis Foundation, was found guilty on multiple counts of insider trading and market manipulation. Marcus stared at the screen. Victoria was crying. Real tears. Her face was twisted with despair. She stumbled on the courthouse steps, and no one reached out to catch her. She was alone. Completely alone.
Daddy, why is that lady crying?
Marcus looked at his daughter. He thought about that night at Lorany, the spit on his face, the word monkey, the way Victoria had looked at him like he was nothing. He should have felt satisfaction, vindication, victory. But he didn't. He just felt tired and sad and grateful that his own life had turned out differently. "She made some bad choices, baby," Marcus said, "and now she has to face the consequences."
Is she going to be okay?
"I don't know, Lily. I hope so. I hope she learns from this. I hope she becomes a better person." Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that made Marcus's heart stop.
Mommy would say we should forgive her.
Marcus looked at his daughter, at her innocent face, at the wisdom she had inherited from her mother. "You're right," he said. "Mommy would say that."
So should we forgive her, Daddy?
Marcus thought about forgiveness, about what Maria had taught him, about the letter she had written to her father, about second chances. "Yes, Lily, we should forgive her. Not because she deserves it, but because holding on to anger hurts us more than it hurts her. Mommy knew that. She was very wise."
She was the wisest,
Lily agreed. Marcus changed the channel. A cartoon came on. Lily laughed at something a talking rabbit did, and Marcus held his daughter close and let the past go. 1 year later, on the anniversary of Maria's death, Marcus and Lily and Ellis went to the cemetery together. They stood in front of her headstone. Maria Elena Thompson, beloved wife, beloved mother, beloved daughter. Lily placed a bouquet of sunflowers, Maria's favorite, at the base of the stone.
"Hi, Mommy," she said. "It's me, Lily. I'm 9 now. I know you're watching, but I wanted to tell you anyway. My heart is all better. The surgery worked. I can run and play and do everything other kids can do."
She paused, gathering her thoughts.
Daddy has a new job. He's a teacher again. He smiles a lot more now. I think he's happy. I think you would be happy too.
Another pause.
And Ray is here. I know you know him. I know you know the whole story now, because you can see everything from heaven. But I want you to know that I like him. He's nice.
He tells me stories about when you were little. He shows me pictures. He makes Daddy less sad. Lily looked up at Ellis. Ellis nodded, his eyes wet. "I think you would want us to be a family," Lily continued. "I think you sent Ray to us, to make sure we were okay. That's what I believe, anyway." She kissed her hand and pressed it to the headstone.
"I love you, Mommy. I miss you every day. But I'm okay. We're all okay. You don't have to worry about us anymore."
She stepped back. Marcus stepped forward. He placed his hand on the cold stone. "Hey, Maria, it's me. I don't really know what to say. You always were better with words than me." He laughed softly. "I just wanted you to know that I kept my promise. I took care of our baby. And I found my way back to who I was, to who you always believed I could be." His voice cracked. "I wish you were here. Every single day I wish you were here. But I know you're watching.
I know you're proud, and I know that somewhere, somehow, you're smiling." He stepped back. Ellis stepped forward. He stood in front of his daughter's grave, the daughter he had never acknowledged, never claimed, never known. "Maria," he said. His voice was barely a whisper. "I know you can't hear me. I know it's too late. I know I failed you in every possible way." He fell to his knees. "But I want you to know that I loved you, from the moment you were born. I know it doesn't count for anything. I know actions matter more than feelings. But I loved you. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything." He pressed his forehead to the stone. "I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to make it up to you. By taking care of Marcus. By taking care of Lily. By being the grandfather you would have wanted me to be." His voice broke. "I'll never forgive myself. But I hope, wherever you are, you can find it in your heart to forgive me, even though I don't deserve it." He knelt there for a long moment. Marcus and Lily stood beside him. The wind blew softly through the cemetery, carrying the scent of spring flowers. Finally, Ellis stood up. His face was wet with tears, but there was something different in his eyes, something lighter. "Thank you," he said to Marcus, "for letting me come, for letting me say goodbye." "She was your daughter," Marcus said simply. "You had a right to say goodbye." They walked out of the cemetery together. 3 people, 1 family, bound by love and loss and the woman who had changed all their lives. That night, after Lily was asleep, Marcus sat at his desk in the new apartment. The window was open. The city lights glittered below. The sounds of New York drifted up. Car horns, distant music, the heartbeat of the city that never sleeps. He pulled out a piece of paper, a pen, and he began to write. "Dear Maria," he wrote, "it's been a year since you left us. A year since the world lost its brightest light. I still miss you. Every day, every hour, every breath." He paused, thought, continued. "But I wanted to tell you that we're okay. Lily is healthy. She's growing so fast. She has your eyes, your laugh, your heart. She's going to do amazing things. I can see it already. I have a new job, a real job, the kind we used to dream about when we were young and the future seemed infinite. I'm teaching again, researching again, using my mind for something that matters. And your father, I know you know. He's part of our lives now. It's complicated. It's painful. But it's also healing. We're learning to be a family, the kind of family you always wanted." He set down the pen, looked out the window, thought about everything that had happened since that night at Laroni. The spit, the insult, the words that had changed everything. He had walked into that restaurant a broken man, a widower, a father drowning in debt and grief, a PhD serving food to people who saw him as nothing. He had walked out a man transformed, not because of the money, not because of the job, not because of the revenge he had taken on Victoria Ashworth. He had walked out transformed because he had remembered who he was. A man of dignity, a man of intelligence, a man who refused to let cruelty define him, a man who stood tall even when the world tried to push him down. Maria had seen that man. She had fallen in love with that man. She had married that man and had a child with him, and believed in him until her very last breath. And he had finally become that man again. Marcus picked up the pen one more time. "I love you, Maria. I will love you until my last breath and beyond. But I'm going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. You can rest now. You can be at peace. Your husband forever, Marcus." He folded the letter. He would take it to her grave tomorrow. Leave it with the sunflowers. Let the rain wash the words into the earth, down to where she slept.
He stood up. He walked to Lily's room. She was asleep. Mr. Elephant clutched against her chest, her face peaceful in the moonlight. His daughter, his miracle, his reason for everything. He leaned down and kissed her forehead. "Good night, baby," he whispered. "I love you more than all the stars." He walked to his own room. He lay down on the bed. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in a very long time, Marcus Thompson slept without nightmares. Because he had learned something that Victoria Ashworth would never understand, something that all the money in the world couldn't buy. True wealth was not measured in dollars, or power, or the ability to humiliate others. True wealth was measured in love, in family, in the courage to stand tall when the world tried to break you, in the grace to forgive those who didn't deserve it, in the strength to build a new life from the ashes of the old. Marcus Thompson had nothing on that night at Laroni, and now he had everything. Not because someone had given it to him, but because he had earned it. One word at a time, one moment at a time, one act of dignity at a time. And that was the kind of wealth no one could ever take away.